On this edition of The Best Times, we examine medical tourism. Why would anyone travel overseas for medical care? You'll meet Memphis's own theatrical impresario, Jackie Nichols, and we'll tell you if an annuity is right for your retirement. Funding for The Best Times is provided by. Since 1988, the H.W. Durham Foundation has been focused on aging issues, providing grants to programs like The Best Times to enrich and improve the quality of life for our older citizens. The Best Times is the only monthly news magazine exclusively for the age 50-plus reader. Your copy is free at over 200 locations, with important stories and news you don't want to miss. The Best Times is always the best. Trezevant, a life care community, a celebration of life. The responsible decision for your well-being now and in the long term. And being responsible has never been such a hoot. TrezevantManor.org. Hello, I'm Chris Hardaway. Welcome to The Best Times, a series that looks at life after 50. This program is about something we're all doing, getting older. By the year 2030, 1 in 5 Americans will be over 65, and that will present a unique set of challenges and opportunities. On this series, you'll meet people who are facing those challenges and seizing their opportunities to make the years ahead the best times. Our cover story tonight focuses on one individual who faced a medical dilemma, and the choices he made to solve his problem may surprise you. This is Willie Bearden. On his left forearm, below a long scar, there's a tattoo. Next to a cryptic phrase is the date January 17th, 2011. That's the day Willie had triple coronary bypass surgery in India. Willie Bearden is an independent filmmaker, writer, and musician. You may have seen his work on WKNO's popular Memphis Memoirs series. In 2010, Willie found out he needed bypass surgery, but he didn't have health insurance.
I could see my future if I had a heart attack here in Memphis and they had to take me to a hospital and they would do emergency surgery on me and hand me a bill for $275,000. Then all of a sudden, at 60 years old, then I'm bankrupt, and they take my house and my building or whatever, and I thought, this is unacceptable. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do that.
Willie put his research skills as a documentary filmmaker to work, investigating medical tourism. His explorations led him to Fortis Hospital in Bangalore, India, half a world away from home, family, and friends. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, Willie took a leap of faith.
There's no doubt about it. There was a huge leap of faith to get on that airplane and to fly 12,000 miles around to the other side of the world, to get this surgery done for people I had never seen before, people that I only talked to, via email, and a lot of people said, you're crazy for doing that. I just looked at my choices and I thought, weighing all of these choices I have, and they were all choices, my choice, what seems best for me? And I just had this feeling that it was going to be okay.
4 days after arriving in Bangalore, Willie underwent triple bypass surgery. From his own photos, you can see his arm, where the physicians harvested the graft material, and the long scar on his chest. Within 2 days after the surgery, Willie was up and walking, feeling better than he had in years.
A couple of days after that, I was just, I put my blue jeans on again, and I thought, okay, I'm alive, I'm good, I'm okay here. And I was so thankful to be in a place where people seemed to care about me and where people were really, really taking good care of me. I've been in hospitals here in the U.S., and I would say that the care I got in India was the best care I've ever gotten anywhere.
Willie spent 21 days in Bangalore. After his release from the hospital, he took plenty of vacation pictures. So how much did this medical vacation cost? All totaled, surgery, hospital stay, airfare, and hotel cost Willie $12,000.
About a 20th, I would say, of what it would have cost here, and would have surely put me into bankruptcy.
Medical tourism has been around for 10 to 15 years. Organizations like the Medical Tourism Association promote its benefits through its website and videos. It's estimated that just under 1 million Americans will seek treatment overseas this year, with projected growth rates of around 30% over the next decade. Dr. Manoj Jain is a local epidemiologist whose interest in medical tourism began when his father had a toothache.
And he needed a crown and root canal, and the estimate was it would cost him $2,000. Now, he could afford it. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it. He could afford it. But he was going to India in the next month or two, and he decided to wait. And he went to India and had the same procedure done for $200.
Saving money is the chief motivating factor behind the decision to travel overseas for medical care. For example, a knee replacement that costs between $30,000 and $53,000 in the U.S. costs just $9,600 in Singapore. A spinal fusion in America is $41,000, but if you travel to India, it's just $9,500. A facelift can cost up to $16,000 in the U.S. In Thailand, it's just $5,000. And if you need dentures, it'll set you back $5,000 here in the States. But if you take a vacation to Costa Rica, it's just $1,600. These figures don't include travel costs, but taking a medical vacation can cost between 30 and 90% less than getting treatment here at home. It's outsourcing your medical care.
I was looking at $250,000 here or $9,000 here. And so there was really no choice. I mean, I had the $9,000. I could do it. It wouldn't be a big setback to me. So yeah, it's free enterprise at its best.
There are 28 countries on 4 continents that cater to medical tourists, and each one focuses on specific medical procedures. For orthopedics or cardiology, go to India. Need dental work? Try Mexico or Hungary. How about a facelift in Brazil or South Africa? Need multiple procedures performed? Go to Thailand, where Bumrungrad International Hospital treats over 25,000 Americans every year. But how are these hospitals able to offer surgical procedures and medical treatments at prices up to 90% less than facilities in the U.S.?
Multiple factors. One is obvious that labor is cheaper overseas. Also, they've made surgery very process-oriented, and they will do it in bulk. And so that has reduced their cost as well. They don't have to deal with third-party insurance. They don't have to deal with malpractice in the way that many people have to deal with here. So that overhead of administration that costs a lot of money here doesn't happen over there. And, you know, it's also cherry-picking only those procedures which will be profitable for overseas hospitals.
Low cost is one thing, but how about the quality of care? Let's face it, in some of these countries you're told not to drink the water. So can you trust the quality of medical care delivered in India or Malaysia or Brazil?
I have gone to many of these hospitals and I'm quite impressed. The level of quality is fairly high, and these hospitals are certified by the same organization that certifies hospitals here.
So the price is right, and as a medical tourist and a cash-paying customer, you'll get VIP treatment. But there's still a cultural and emotional hurdle to overcome. Are you prepared to travel far from home and family to a country where English may not be the first language?
There's a cultural barrier. There's certainly different people, different cultures, different religions. You know, all of that comes into play.
Yeah, I think had the country not been an English-speaking country, I would have been a bit concerned with that.
I believe the greatest barrier is not having your family there if you're not with family. And that can be a scary experience, especially if you're undergoing a huge surgery like bypass surgery.
There are other legal and medical considerations for the potential medical tourist to consider. The American Medical Association has published this list of 9 guidelines to help patients determine if they should travel overseas for medical treatment. Don't be shy to discuss this topic with your personal physicians. You may be surprised at their level of knowledge and cooperation. But as Dr. Jane and Willie Bearden will attest, there's no substitute for doing your homework.
You've got to definitely do your homework. Talk to the physician over there, talk to the administrators, and call up there's a Medical Tourism Association and make sure that that hospital is appropriate.
Willie's story is just one example of thousands of middle-class Americans who fall through the cracks in our healthcare system. People between age 50 and 64 who find themselves without insurance or underinsured and are faced with a medical crisis.
And they're just praying that they don't get sick. They're praying that they don't have an accident. You know, they're praying that something, you know, doesn't happen to their family, you know, a catastrophic illness. Because, I mean, you're just at the mercy of the system when that happens. And you talk about falling through the cracks. When you fall through that crack, that's the big crack. You splat on the sidewalk when you fall through that crack.
What we see is those individuals between the age of 50 and 64 before they can get Medicare. Lack of insurance leads to about 15 to 30,000 deaths every year. So if Willie, for example, decided not to get bypass surgery, his chance of survival would have been significantly lower than with bypass surgery. And imagine if there are many Willies out there, and those are the ones who die. And that's where our system breaks down for those who don't have insurance.
The politics of healthcare and medical reality are often two divergent branches of the same tree. Medical tourism, whether it's voluntary or, as in Willie's case, a matter of life and death, is still a limited phenomenon. But some insurance companies in America are beginning to offer their clients overseas options. Even they can't ignore the financial incentives. Dr. Jane sees lessons for our healthcare system that can be learned from the value-based systems in these foreign countries.
We can learn how other countries and other hospitals and institutions are able to decrease their cost, maintain the quality, and provide that value healthcare. And that's what it motivates me to be looking at these other institutions, is to say, how can I make healthcare better in America? Because I can see that other institutions are doing the same.
And for Willie Bearden too,
yeah, I mean,
there's a lesson learned.
Beyond there, I think you have to be creative in your thinking, and you know, you have to be open enough to understand that there are good people all around this world that we live in, good human beings who will treat you right and who will help you out if you need some help.
You may be surprised to learn that medical tourism is a two-way street. By some estimates, 400,000 foreigners come to the U.S. every year for medical treatment. They're not bargain hunters. They're coming here for our cutting-edge medical technology that may not exist in their corner of the world. Remember that tattoo on Willie Bearden's forearm? Just below his scar, next to the date of his surgery, are 2 words written in Hindi: spare parts. If you're a patron of the theater in Memphis, then you probably know the name Jackie Nichols. He's a theatrical impresario who has staged hundreds of productions in his long career and entertained hundreds of thousands of audience members whose tastes range from Neil Simon to William Shakespeare. I'd like you to meet Jackie Nichols. It's opening night at Playhouse on the Square for the first regional theater production of the hit Broadway musical, Legally Blonde. As the crowd mills in the lobby before the show, Jackie Nichols, executive director and founder of Playhouse, makes the rounds. He's done this for over 750 opening nights in a career that spanned over 40 years.
Yeah, I'm, I guess, one of the few folks that was born here and lived here. I love Memphis. It's been a community that's provided a lot of opportunities. Anyone that's got an entrepreneurial spirit or mind can really make things happen, and I've had the opportunity to do that.
At a young age, Jackie was bitten by the acting bug.
I remember doing shows when I was in elementary school. However, I think the thing that was the most instrumental was Martha Scott School of Dancing. I was a tap dancer. In the theater or performance venue, I was doing every show I could at my high school, at Martha Scott School of Dancing, at other private girls' schools around town because, you know, in a girls' school they need guys that are in the musicals. And so it was kind of a no-brainer that I was, you know, would go and do Oklahoma here and Three Penny Opera there, and they would if I was doing too many shows, they would rework their schedule on when they were doing shows so that I could go and do these plays because not many guys were doing shows, but, you know, that's where all the cute girls were. I use that line a lot, but it's true.
Even though performing was in his blood, Jackie didn't try for stardom in New York or L.A. His goals were very different.
I quit performing because I realized pretty early that I was just kind of okay. I could sing and dance pretty good and act a little bit, but there was a lot of people, there was a lot of actors. Nobody wanted to make it happen. I get my enjoyment out of making it happen, out of making it successful, out of bringing new interesting work to the community, and by giving the artists in the community a home, an artistic home where they can do that work.
In 1963, Jackie teamed up with a fellow student at Overton High School to form Circuit Players, a traveling troupe of actors giving summertime performances at rented or borrowed venues throughout the city. Then in 1969, Circuit Players became Circuit Playhouse.
There were about a dozen people that were part of the collective that got this thing started, and we all kind of pitched in money to pay the first month's rent. We hope that we bring in enough money to pay the next month's rent and utility bill and the phone bill, because no one was paid and very little was used for sets and costumes. Whatever we could buy, find, scrounge, steal, or borrow to do the shows that we were doing.
The shows that Circuit mounted were not your ordinary community theater fare. Jackie and his colleagues did shows that pushed the envelope, edgy productions like the anti-war drama We Bombed in New Haven, or controversial plays like Marat Sade, which contained the first nude scene performed on a Memphis stage.
The kinds of shows that we were doing, we were all, you know, in our 20s then, and it was like our way of protesting what was happening in our country, whether it was in Vietnam or whether it had to do with civil rights issues. We were doing these shows, and the theater was our voice.
In 1975, the owners of Overton Square noted the success of Circuit Playhouse and began the renovation of the old Lafayette's Music Hall into a live theater venue.
Based on our specifications, they spent $30,000, $40,000 at that time, which would be $350,000, $400,000 today, to renovate it, and turned it over to us and said, all we want you to do is to bring those kind of folks into the square here for your shows. So we had a show that was more name recognition and would actually support paying people to perform.
With the birth of the original Playhouse on the Square, professional theater returned to Memphis. In the ensuing years, additional theaters were opened, and today Circuit Playhouse Incorporated operates 4 stages, all in Midtown. Jackie's crowning achievement is the new Playhouse on the Square, a $13.5 million facility modeled after the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago that is state-of-the-art.
There's pride in that. I feel good that we've done something for the community.
Jackie's vision has taken him a long way from that first building on Walker Avenue, but he's not done yet. Establishing an endowment fund for the theater and increasing salaries are his goals for the future. At age 65, he may not be thinking about retirement yet, but his legacy in the arts in Memphis is firmly established.
We hopefully have made people just stop and think about all of the issues that we deal with in our lives on a daily basis and how we treat other people. I mean, theater's a human experience. People can go in and see themselves on stage in those characters. They see how hard those people are working, and they get something out of that, you know, something out of the story that's being told on that stage. And that story is told as a comedy, as a drama, as a musical.
Deciding which investments are right for your retirement savings can be a tricky task. Annuities have been a popular form of investment for years, but are they right for you? Let's take a class in Annuities 101. What is an annuity?
Well, an annuity at its most basic definition is really a contract between an insurance company and an individual or an entity. Now, the terms and conditions of a contract, they can vary greatly, and it's so important that, you know, the person buying the contract or the entity buying it really understand those terms, because the variances of the contracts depend on the benefits that are being designed for that particular client. So no annuity is the same.
Are there different types of annuities?
There's fixed annuities, there are variable annuities, and there are index annuities. There's equity index, fixed index, and then there's immediate annuities, and that's what a lot of people think about, where they're getting an income stream right away. And in many cases, if you do that, then you have no access to your principal. So you have to be careful and understand really which type of those annuities you're buying.
What are the advantages of annuities?
One of the greatest benefits that we're finding retirees are loving inside annuities is a guaranteed stream of income that they cannot outlive, or they and their spouse cannot outlive. The other feature or rider that some annuity companies provide is a guarantee or a protection of the principal. I cannot lose my initial principal. So you put in $10,000, you know that you will never get less back than that $10,000. So that's a feature that's great. Some annuity companies offer guaranteed death benefits if that's what's important to the client. But this guaranteed stream of income and this guaranteed potential return of principal or guaranteed death benefits are the features that have become so attractive for retirees, and it's making the popularity of annuities just rise rapidly.
What are the disadvantages of annuities?
So you have to look and see, what age am I, and is there going to be any illiquidity associated with this contract? Meaning, have I just signed that I promise to leave my money in for a year, 5 years, 10 years? And if I come out, what are the penalties and fees associated with coming out early? The other disadvantage sometimes for some people is the lack of investment choices. There are limited investment choices. Different annuities offer different investment choices. The other thing are the cost. If you buy a plain investment like a mutual fund, and then you buy that same mutual fund inside an annuity, it's going to cost you more because the annuity has fees and charges.
Is my money protected?
Annuities do not have FDIC insurance, government protected guarantees, government provided guarantees. That is not the kind of guarantees. And when we talk about it being insured, it's an insurance company who's insuring it, the insurance company. So the guarantee, different annuities offer guarantees, but those guarantees are being backed by the financial stability of the company.
Who is the ideal candidate for an annuity?
I have had clients that are very young purchase annuities, and I've had clients that are older purchase annuities. A retired person may just want to supplement an existing pension, supplement Social Security. They may want to make sure that they can't lose their principal. So at all ages, married, single, it really just depends, once again, on what somebody's looking for. And they're not for everyone, but they are fabulous, fabulous investment vehicles if they're used properly.
For more information about annuities and other money topics, visit the website of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I hope you'll join me next week for more of The Best Times. Until then, please visit our website at wkno.org/besttimes. And while you're online, click over to Next Avenue, PBS's website, where grown-ups keep growing. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris Hardaway. Good night. Funding for The Best Times is provided by Trezevant, a life care community, a celebration of life. The responsible decision for your well-being now and in the long term. And being responsible has never been such a hoot. TrezevantManor.org. The Best Times is the only monthly news magazine exclusively for the age 50-plus reader. Your copy is free at over 200 locations with important stories and news you don't want to miss. The Best Times is always the best. Since 1988, the H.W. Durham Foundation has been focused on aging issues, providing grants to programs like The Best Times to enrich and improve the quality of life for our older citizens.